You're listening to RTI Audio, powered by Rocky Top Insider. This is Pancakes and Bacon with VFL, Kyler Kerbyson, and Reed Bacon.
Hello, Vol Nation. Welcome to another episode of Pancakes and Bacon. I'm your host, as always, Kyler Kerbyson, joined with Reed Bacon. I have a little bit of a somber one here. It is the end of the regular season for the Vols. They have had a bad loss in Neyland, which we will get into. But if you guys are watching, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave a comment. If you're just listening, rate and review, download, re-download, follow us on all those, follow us on social media. Very much appreciate it. So let's just dive into this thing. Reed, how are we doing, bud?
Well, I had 1 week of being good, and now I'm pissed off again.
That didn't take too long.
Yeah, you know, Kyler, it's basketball time in Tennessee.
That's right, baby.
It is basketball time in Tennessee. Boy, I was watching that Nate Ament. That boy's a good damn player.
Man, that damn Ricky B's going to lead him to the promised land.
Let me get that settled there. Yeah, it's all crooked. Oh, well, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, man. I think the best place to start with on this is, Megan and I went to the game yesterday, so we went to 2 games this year. We went to Georgia and Vandy. Both were tough losses.
Mm-hmm.
And I was walking. We were leaving. My mom was picking us up. And I just, kind of talking with Megan and, about everything. And I just said, this sounds bad to say, but I'm just kind of happy that the season's over, which is almost blasphemy to say in the South. And as a Tennessee fan, it's like we love football season so much. And that's not only just like our team football, like we love rooting on Tennessee and for me, the Titans as well. So I'm not excited for football season in general to be over because I can watch and enjoy any type of football. Mm. But as a fan, it's nice because I'm kind of like the stress is a little bit over for me for now. In a way, I felt like going into this season was a little house money. I still thought we would be good. I thought we'd be better than what our record showed, and I thought we would be better than what my eyes showed me and told me. But yeah, I was just happy that it was over with. I didn't want to go like that. That Oklahoma loss really did me in. The play at Alabama was really tough, but winning at Alabama is a tough job anyways. Mm-hmm. And like losing to Vandy like that, it's hard. It's hard. It sucks. And being there, Megan and I had great seats. We were in section B, but if you know anything about where they put the away fans, like B's right next to A. And so we had a good amount of Vandy fans around us. We had a couple of them. We had like a group of probably 5 college. Yeah, they were probably college. I mean, maybe a few of them in college, maybe a few high school, maybe right out of college. But they were down there and they were running and bumping those gums. And it wasn't when the game was out of hand. I'm talking like when Tennessee was up, they were still chirping and running and everything. And a slight part of me was like, man, if this was the same situation as the Georgia game where it was you and Megan and I, and if these boys had been right in front of us compared to 4 or 5 rows in front of me, like it probably wouldn't have ended well. And I'm not saying like I'm going to start or initiate, but there was one of them that was pretty intoxicated that was turning around and like facing back and like running his mouth and standing up and moving his hands. And I'm just like, yo, if you and I had been there, I know like when he turns around, he kind of stands up on the actual bleachers, like, something's going to be said and something's going to happen. And so that's a tough pill to swallow, like when the other team comes in there and we'll get into the game. but I'm sitting there and, like I said, I'm watching everything that's taking place, and like I feel fine about how the game's going. There was only one point where I started to be like, that's not good, and we'll get there. But yeah, for me, like I'm just kind of happy it's over with because it's almost like I don't have to take any more tough losses this year. I mean, I guess we could lose a bowl game, and that would be pretty bad. But I mean, we're not in the playoffs.
It's not as bad as this.
Right? Yeah, that's a good point. Good point. Yeah. So, anyways, that's for me. Like I'm kind of like relieved it's kind of over with for now, and now it's time to reload. What about?
I thought you were going to start by saying like, yes, Kyler, you were right. I should have been worried. Yes, this is something that we should have looked at, that we should have paid attention to more. This is actually a good team in the SEC, because I feel like you included, and a lot of Tennessee fans looked at this as another Vanderbilt game, and that's not what it was. Okay. In years past, there are the big dogs, there are the Georgias and the Alabamas, where it's like, hey, we might win that game. We might be able to beat them. But there's no like, yes, we're definitely going to, or yes, they're definitely going, more times than not. The yes, they are definitely going to. Then there's the middle of the road games. There's the South Carolinas, the Missouris, the Floridas, where it's like, hey, I don't know. It can go either way, but I feel good about us versus them. I'm more confident in that. And then there were the bottom of the barrel games. There were the Vandys and the Mississippi States and the Arkansas. Whereas like we should definitely beat this team. There shouldn't be any conversation when it goes into it. What everyone failed to realize is those teams changed. Okay? Florida is worse than Vanderbilt this year. Those teams that were in the middle have moved to the bottom, and the teams that are on the bottom have moved to the middle, Vandy being one of them. As long as Clark Lee is there, they have a good shot to be in the mix, be annoying, be part of SEC conversations, and that's just never, ever, ever been the case. So this is a new reality that everyone has to get used to. This rivalry might actually be something if he doesn't go somewhere else. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if someone tries to poach him. I know he just signed an extension, but if he's there, he's making this an actual rivalry. It wasn't before. You understand?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I disagree, though. I have to believe it till I see it because I have experienced the James Franklin years of Vandy. Now, granted, he left.
And if he would have stayed.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. It's like if that coach stays, Clark Lee played at Vanderbilt. I see him I could see him staying. He's like, hey, you know what? I played here. I grew up here. My family loves it here in Nashville because this is where I'm from. I get paid a good amount. I don't have that high of expectations. Whenever I do win 10 games, I'm the hero of the city. I still get a good amount of money in NIL, so I still have the opportunity to do stuff. I mean,
yeah, no, that was probably you're right, and you're correct in the fact that James Franklin left, and so that kind of kills my argument of like sustained success at Vandy. But I still think I'm not going to overreact to one season and one game. I mean, this is the first time they've had 10 wins ever. Now I know Clark Lee hasn't been there for that whole time, but like I'm not ready to be like this is going to be a rivalry. Like it needs to. I mean, we just beat their ass last year. So I mean, it's like it's not. I mean, Clark Lee's gotten owned since he's taken over there by Josh Heupel. So I'm not going to overreact yet. Maybe next year, if they beat us again and they still have that trajectory, that's one thing. But like I still feel like it's lightning in a bottle with Diego and some of these other old guys that they brought in, and with Eli Stowers and Jerry Kill and all that. Like I'm not ready to say it's sustained yet, which is the same thing that other people could have said about Heupel after 2022, like other fan bases. Like, I'm not worried about Tennessee yet. So, and I'm not saying that I didn't think this was going to be a good game. I mean, I was still confident in Tennessee to win the game. I'm not surprised that Tennessee lost. I am surprised at how it looked, especially after seeing and watching how the game started off. It's 21-21. I'm like, okay, I'm expecting this thing to be a fourth quarter game, and probably whoever has the ball last is probably going to win it. And that was certainly not the case. And so yeah, you were right, but like I was still talking with people this week. Like, I'm like, yeah, Vandy's going to be tough. Like, they're going to come in here, like, play hard. Diego's good. They're going to fight you for 60 minutes. And I do think Vanderbilt is good. I don't think they're necessarily great. I mean, they are what they are. I mean, they didn't really beat anyone of substance. And I don't know if I could say Tennessee's of anyone of substance. It's still a good win for them to come to Knoxville and win in Neyland, and we are ranked. But, like, Tennessee, unfortunately, Tennessee did not beat anyone basically with a winning record. I mean, if you were going to look back on this season, the best win that you had, in my opinion, if you take history out of it and the whole Florida thing, the best win that we had was going to Mississippi State and winning, like, earlier in the season.
Yeah, Arkansas wasn't that good.
Yeah. So,
Kentucky's not a good win.
Right.
None of those, BS teams, and Syracuse isn't either.
Yeah. So it's like you beat Mississippi State on the road, and you beat Florida, and kind of got the monkey off your back there. But other than that, we didn't beat Oklahoma, we didn't beat Vandy, didn't beat Georgia, didn't beat Florida. And we can say that now. I mean, you don't know that going into the season. You don't even really know that through the middle of the season because, your opinions and stuff change. But anyway.
It just feels like everyone is taking this game as if there's no chance it should have happened. And I'm kind of like, this is a 10-win team in the SEC. Like, I know their name is Vanderbilt, but they're a 10-win team in the SEC. Like, it almost feels like people would prefer if we would have lost the Florida game and beat Vandy.
So basically, to explain this, you're looking at it as like a player or coach where I'm going in each week, I'm watching film on people, I'm preparing, and I turn the film on. It's like, yeah, this team might be Vandy, but they're pretty good. Compared to Tennessee fans, they're like, I've been watching Tennessee football for 72 years, and you don't lose to Vandy.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense to me. You don't lose to this team. You can lose to anybody. You can beat anybody. Yeah. If that was the case, then we would never get over the hump, the 12-year drought we have versus Florida. We would never win in the swamp again. We would never beat Alabama back in 2022. It's just like, you have to look at it as like Vanderbilt isn't the 16th best team in the SEC.
Yeah.
They're the 5th best.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you're playing the 5th best team in the SEC, not Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
And that's where it comes in, because I truly feel that people are more like, oh, he should have won this game. But if we would have lost to Florida down in Gainesville, no one would have been as ferocious about the fact that he should have won. But it's like, the Florida team sucks. They don't have a coach. They're a lot worse than this Vanderbilt team.
I still think the Florida win's a good win for us based on how they had shown life against two really good teams. So, I mean, they went to the wire against Georgia and Ole Miss, so that was still good that we went down there and dominated the game. I think people were upset with how it looked against Vandy, meaning this Vandy team this year can be pretty good, but you can't let them just beat your ass in the second half like that and look like they own, well, they did own the entire half. You can't be pushed around like that. Bacon Junk Removal is our sponsor, and then we'll get in even to more in this. I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving, and as we continue to press on, say it each and every week, we are very appreciative and thankful for any opportunity that we get, and if there's anything that we can do to help, give us a call. Saying that, we'll get back to this game. I don't know if there's any other overarching. I guess one other overarching question I have before we kind of talk about some plays and me being there at the game and kind of how I felt at the game. I guess my overarching question is to you as the former player. do you want to see any staff changes? I mean, you've been in the building with staff changes, so you know how it affects stuff. But like, are you saying, hey, it's time to move on from Tim Banks, or this defense isn't acceptable, or you want someone else at offense coordinator, whatever? What are your thoughts on moving forward?
I don't like to be the one to say fire somebody because I have been a part of it a lot. I was also a part of 2 losses to Vanderbilt. I wasn't playing in those games, but I was a part of them. And usually when you lose to Vanderbilt, somebody gets fired. It's pretty common. I do think the peak of Tim Banks's powers was probably last year. As good as a defensive coordinator as he can be, happened last year. And the question is, can he get back to that? Part of me also looks at retention on defense, and it's not very good. Like, our retention on offense feels a lot more sustainable. Like, the wide receivers we're able to keep that stay with us, the offensive linemen that stay with us, the wide receivers that come in, the quarterbacks. Like, this past year with Nico was quite an outlier. But on defense, like, how many times are we losing good names to other Power 5 schools? And it really kind of like, they're not the end all be all, but man, could they have helped? Yeah, they could have. They could have made this defense a lot better. I'm not going to be upset if Tim Banks is gone. I'll just say that. Like, I determined at, I think, like the Mississippi State game that, like, we're going as far as the offense is taking us, not the defense. Like, we cannot rely on what the defense can give us to win football games, that it's going to be shootouts from there forward. And that's never a good sign to say that for a defensive coordinator, to be like, hey, like, your unit is air pretty much. Like, we know you're going to let up points. We just got to go out there and score more. I mean, that's what happened in 2012 when I was there in our offense. It was just like, we have to try and score more points than the other team because the defense isn't going to stop them once. So, yeah, I mean, maybe it is time for a change, because I definitely don't think it's Heupel or his coordinating or his offensive scheme that is losing us ball games.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm still like up in the air. I think the easiest way to say it is if Tim Banks is gone, I'm not going to be upset. But Tim Banks has been here when we've had some, decent defenses. I guess, 23 and 24. So he had 2 good years there. 2022, we were good against the run, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, it's like I'm not going to be upset. But then again, I also know if we get the horses back in here, then he'll probably be pretty good. I think for me, I mean, I'll be the first to say, like, I was wrong going into this year defensively. And I do push back on you a little bit talking about losing guys to Group of 5 that would have made this team any better. I mean, Jacoby Thomas is probably the only player that we missed, but I don't know if Jacoby Thomas is making us win any of these games that we lost. I think he is the twofold, whereas he brings the energy and the leadership and the dog mentality and that feistiness to a defense that you need. And you lost it when you lost him and Omar Norman Lott, and you lost leadership with Omari Thomas. But like Christian Harrison, or even Boo being a cancer. I mean, I don't know how much better they were going to be than Jalen McMurray. I thought Jalen McMurray had some really nice plays this year. I didn't expect Jermon McCoy to be back, so it's like Ricky Gibson and Colton Hood. I thought Ty Redmond had some really, really good moments this year. So it's like I'm thinking like out loud. I don't know of anyone where we really lost. I think what really hurt Tennessee this year is our defensive line, and I was wrong. I thought defensive line wise we'd still be pretty good. Now, granted, you didn't have David Hobbs for a good amount of time. You didn't have Jackson Moy, which then you lose him early yesterday, and I was like, that's not ideal because of how they were going to try to play us.
Mm-hmm.
But so, yeah, there were some injuries. But then again, ultimately, I think you and I see it different as we have, like I've always said, we look at it as like a player or coach. But the coaches know, like fans don't care that we had these injuries and these different things. Like it's our responsibility to win these games. Like that's what it comes down to. So if like I try to look at it, I can see where some of the stuff went wrong. But then again, I'm also just kind of tired and annoyed of some of the stuff that I see on defense. And I've brought it up to you multiple times. I do get very frustrated with the feast or famine spot of defense where we will bring someone off an edge and it's a play action pass and they hit Diego Pavia and force a throw. Like that's great. But then the next time when they hand it and there's an alleyway and this guy's not getting touched until he's 8 yards deep. And I like more of a picket fence type defense because I don't want to give up alleyways. But yeah, I think you have to say, like, even if the linebackers did take a little bit of a step this year, the D-line, interior and exterior, took a big step back. We weren't as good in interior, whether that's interior pass rush and stopping the run, and then you don't have James Pierce coming off the edge. So I think a lot of it was we just didn't have the horses that we had last year defensively, but that's still for Tim Banks to try to make something different. And it wasn't just giving points up. It would.
Yeah, I also do. I also don't like the fact that for the 5 years we've been doing this podcast and Tim Banks being the defensive coordinator the entire time, like we're still on the podcast talking about some of the same things on defense that we don't like poor tackling from the back end, like poor block shedding. Like, why are we still talking about that? Why am I still seeing like a ducked head or a shoulder going into oncoming blockers as a defensive player? Like, it's just so backwards to me because like I remember being an offensive lineman and oh, hey, I'm pulling around, I'm getting into the gap. I am playing half a man. Like I'm playing the inside half of them or the outside half of them, depending on where the running back's supposed to go and where the hole's supposed to be. Because if I just play him straight up, then he has two options. And I just watch these defensive players like play one side of the block, and they just like there's no hands that come into play. They are like, oh, someone's coming towards me really fast to block me. I'm going to put my shoulder down into them. And it just takes them out of place. They have no opportunity to make a tackle, to get in the way, to do anything. And the fact that is just still occurring, that I just still see that is very annoying. And then like I don't like the fact, and we talk about the transfer stuff. I think the first one that I was really like, that sucks of this kind of era was Tyler Barron. Like when he transferred, I was like, oh, fuck. Like he's actually a good player for us. He plays the pass and the run very well, and he still has another year of eligibility, and this guy's leaving. But some of the DBs that we keep losing and then having to bring new ones in just over and over and over does kind of feel like I wish there wasn't as much of a revolving door. Which I say that, and here we are headed into next season, and I could easily see McCoy, Ricky, Redmond, Hood all being here next year. So it's like, okay, well, yeah, I just complained about it, but here we are.
Wait, what four did you say?
McCoy.
McCoy's not going to be here next year. McCoy's gone. He's going to the NFL.
But if they are like, hey, you were injured for an entire year, we're going to draft you in the 7th round.
No, he's projected first round. He's gone.
He's still projected first round. Yeah, not playing a snap.
Yeah, he's gone. Yeah, he's gone. So he's gone.
That's honestly, like, I'm not being devil's advocate like that. I don't think that's correct. Like, that surprises the fuck out of me.
No, he is. He's gone.
That a corner could still be a first-round pick after not playing for an entire year, and it wasn't like he won Defensive Player of the Year last year or SEC Defensive Player of the Year. Like, but, I mean, if he's first round, great. Like, awesome.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have imagined that.
Yeah, no, he's gone. Colton Hood's projected like first or second round, so he's probably gone. So we'll have Ty back. We'll have Ricky back, you would think. I don't know. I mean, I know we're not getting into each and every one. Like Tyler Barron leaving, I was kind of like, dang. But then you hear that he was a cancer there. I mean, you and I both had multiple people tell us that he was just kind of an issue, like wanting money, and then they're just finally like, dude, get out of here. And we didn't miss him. He was a good player, but like our D line was still nasty without him. You know what I mean? So, it is. I think the only thing that and let me bring this point up too. Talking about, hey, we've been doing this pod for 4 and 5 years now. We're still talking about the same stuff with Tim Banks. I just don't know if that's not the case for other places. I'm not watching and breaking down because, Alabama could say the same stuff. Oh, we've been seeing this. I mean, Georgia fans, you hear from Georgia people, they are so sick of Mike Bobo. Mike Bobo is their offensive coordinator, but anytime I've watched him, I thought he's been really good. So it's
I'm sure this is what Alabama fans sounded like when they were playing Oklahoma or lost to Florida State.
Sure. So there's I just can't say that, if you bring in another defensive coordinator, we're not still going to have missed tackles. We're not still going to have this. I mean, I don't know because I'm not breaking them down. I'm assuming that's just the case. Some years you're going to have some years that like, this is a very good fundamental tackling team. And other years you're going to have them that are not so good. Other years you're going to have them that are good against playing the run and not the pass and vice versa. It just switches. I'm not making excuses for him. I'm just saying that, like, not everyone's going to be happy. I'm sorry, you're not going to be able to make everyone happy every year. Nick Saban, the greatest college coach of all time, there were still Bama fans that weren't happy with him every year. I mean, that's how sports are. And like I said, I'm not saying Tim Banks should stay, but, I mean, if you get him some good horses, I mean, I think I can go be a good defense coordinator at Tennessee if I've got really, really good defensive line and edge guys. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of coaching matters. Coaching matters.
Yeah.
It does. But there's a certain extent, too, that, like, even an average coach can look really good and a really good can look great depending on who you got up at, on the field. So I think for me in Tennessee, my biggest thing is I don't know who does – like the general manager portion. Like, we don't have a general manager. I don't know who that guy is that's sitting there that's responsible for breaking down all of the transfer portal. I mean, I would hope that Tennessee's got an entire staff that's just high school and then another entire group that's just transfer portal, other college, just like it is in the NFL. Like the NFL, you've got your scouts that do just college, and then you got your other side of the scouting that does all pro personnel, which is guys that are in free agency or you go on a trade for and all that. Because I totally think that college football now is just Tennessee's got the money. It's just how do we spend it? It's now as much of constructing the roster. It was always about recruiting the right guys, but now it's allocating your money to the right places. You can't miss on a guy with money being tied into it. And I just hope that Tennessee does a really good job in being out front of, and we've brought in some pretty good transfers. I mean, I would say that the transfers we've brought in have been better than any of the ones that we've lost. I mean, you know what I mean? If we went through it for 4 or 5 years, But that's what's equaling out college football, is because you can go pluck these dudes that are really, really good, and they're good. They're really good players at University of Ohio Bobcats, but they're going to be here and they're going to be really good rotational pieces. So that's
why Vandy is not Vandy right now.
Exactly. And so I just hope that Tennessee does that moving forward, because I trust Heupel on game day, in offense. There is something, and I'll save it. I'm not going to get into it now because we're 30 minutes in and it's kind of a longer discussion for a longer time. But there is one thing I've been thinking about with Heupel and this year, and some of the losses we've taken to some of the teams. But we'll get there. We'll do that on another one. I will tell a funny story, and then we can talk about the game, kind of break this up a little bit. So, like I said, Megan and I were in Section B. A lot of the Vandy people were in Section A. I go up. It is probably the start of the third quarter. I go into the bathroom, and I'm in the bathroom that's still the old bathroom. It has the troughs. Mm-hmm. There's only probably 5 other people in the trough. I'm on, if you're watching this video, I'm on, the left end of the bathroom. And to my right down there's a police officer down there, and he's using a trough too. Because, I'm going in, I walk in, see not many people in there. Well, all of a sudden, as I'm doing my business, I hear, dude. A very blatant, dude, what are you doing, basically? They don't say, what are you doing? They just say, dude. Well, that gets my attention. I look, and the police officer is saying this, and he's going like this to a Vandy guy. Well, it ended up being, I knew it was one of the Pavia clan, but now that I've seen all the stuff on social media, that it was the one that got arrested because it was the backwards hat, it was the Vandy baseball jersey, it was jeans, Jordans. This guy, Pavia's brother, I have seen a lot of intoxicated people in Neyland. I have seen a lot of intoxicated people. I've never seen someone do what he did. So he must have.
This is great. This is inside scoop right here.
He must have either peed in a stall and then came back out, or he did the trough or whatever. I think to make more sense of it, he would have had to gone in the stall, come out. This man goes over to the troughs. So if you're watching, it goes trough, little piping running down. That's the piping that has the water that trickles down to then flow the urine into the bottom of the trough.
Yeah.
He goes over and starts to move the lever on the trough where the police officer is peeing to wash his hands in that water. The police officer saved his ass. Because if not, he would have adjusted the water and stuck his hands in the trough to wash his hands. I was shocked. And so I think the cop was shocked too, because he literally he goes, dude, very what are you doing? And then when he looks over to the cop to be like what's up? And the cop's back there. He just gives him a thumb. And
there's sinks.
There's sinks. So it was so funny. I just thought it was a Vandy fan until I was like, no, that kind of looks like a Pavia brother or somebody, because I've seen him on TV or social media, and then I later see him get arrested. He was so intoxicated, and he was past the point of intoxication of loud, belligerent, running his mouth. He was a zombie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because if you don't look right or left, there's a person with their penis out pissing right there.
Right there.
There's a cop right there pissing. And you're like, oh, this is the sink.
Unbelievable, dude. I could not believe it. So then he walks over, and like I said, he wasn't stumbling. He was just moving so slow, and he goes over there to start washing his hands. Hey, you know what? Kudos on him to washing his hands, because I'm a big hand washer, and it makes me mad when people are I'm a germaphobe, but it makes me mad when people don't wash their hands. It's even in his most intoxicated state, at least he was going to wash his hands. But then a UT fan came out of the stall behind me and was trolling him. He was just messing with him. I don't know if he knew who he was or not. But he's like, hey man, don't let him talk to you that way. He was saying that to Pavia about the police officer. Yeah. And it was just so funny. And then the Pavia kid guy looks at him and just looks at him, and he's just gone. He doesn't know what's going on.
Blacked out.
Yeah. So, and I came out, and Megan, I was like, you will never guess what happened. I said, Megan, I've been coming to this stadium since I was probably 1998 was my first Florida game. And I said, I've seen a lot of drunk people. I've never seen someone that was going to wash their hands in the trough.
That is hilarious. That is 10 minutes before this guy gets arrested.
And I promise you that is a true story. I promise you that is exactly what happened. And I was just dumbfounded. But like I said, that cop did the right thing, because if that would have been Tennessee fans seeing that or whatever, they probably just would have laughed and let him do it. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, that cop literally was just disgusted. He was like, dude. And then just like looks at him, is like, just gives him the finger. He's like, back here. Crazy. So,
oh, God.
Yeah. True story. I couldn't believe my eyes. But anyway, so about the game, I get there. Good crowd. I do think that we're to a point with Neyland that Neyland has raised the stakes so much that people just feel like they're going to go in there and it's going to be a zoo every time. I'm part to blame, because I've been there, Florida games. I've been there, Alabama games. I was there in the infamous 2015 Oklahoma game, where those games are, you feel like every play is life or death, and you feel like every play is just constant noise for 4 quarters. Mm-hmm. I mean, I thought this year's Georgia game, we had some great loud moments, and then there's times where we're going to be quiet when the team's on offense. I feel like a part of that Georgia game, the air was taken out of the ball, because they just kept, like I'm trying to be like, hey, let's go, big third down. Like I'm always like, hey, let's win first down. All right, guys, it's okay. Like, let's, I'm trying to make noise. But the casual fan, if you want to draw them in for every play, it just has to be like, I think your team has to be really good. Like, for example, I feel like if Tennessee had not lost to Oklahoma and this was a play-in game to basically who was going to make it in, I think it would have been more rowdy. But, like, it was still loud, but it wasn't like –
also cold.
Yeah, and it's a holiday weekend. So it was like it was a good crowd, but to Neyland standards of just bonkers, that wasn't the case. I mean, I was walking out to go get Megan some Petros and look around, and there was plenty of people just out in the concourse, just like talking, hanging out. I mean, it wasn't, anything nuts, but I'm sitting there, great seats, and I'm sitting there watching. I got them right in front of us, and very early on, I thought what Vandy was doing defensively was smart. Just, we're going to show the mug up, we're going to drop, we're going to come, we're going to sell out for the run. They did get beat over the top twice with the PI and the touchdown. There should have been the other PI that wasn't called, but it did start feeling like they were going to sell out on the run and be like, you're going to beat us over the top, or you're going to have to dink and dunk all the way down, which is what a lot of people have done against us. But I was impressed with how Tennessee's defense was playing. I really thought when we got that first pick, and I said, oh, man, like what a game changer. They could have gone up 7-0. Now we're going to go down. We go 7-up. And then I think it was maybe 14-7 or 21-14 when we got the second pick, which by the way, that was right in front of me. Ty Redmond played that so perfectly. And I literally was like, turn. Buddy, turn. Yeah. As if he could hear me, he turns and picks it because he was in great position. So, like, if you go back and, like,
there's a lot of times we've seen corners not turn.
Right. And if I go back and as I'm thinking about it, about how I watched the game and how it started, and we hit a deep shot and we run the ball, freaking Deshaun Bishop, I think I looked up at the board, he had 90-something rushing yards, and it wasn't even halftime yet. And I'm like, wow, like this is great. We're establishing the run, getting chunks here and there. Like this is beautiful. And so I felt like all of that stuff was going great. And then I look at Megan, and it's 5 minutes and 42 seconds, I believe. We got the ball, and I said, if he can chew up this clock, drive the length of the field, score at least just 3. If we get 7, that's great, to go up 28-14. I said, this could be really, really good for Tennessee. And they stop us. We barely move it. They go down and score. And that's what I was worried about, was doubling us up at half. And, they end up scoring right before half, and they get the ball out. And they did to us exactly what Georgia did to us when you and I were at the game together. They came out. They played small ball. They did a little bit of everything, misdirection, quick pass, play action, whatever the case may was, and we couldn't stop them. And that's where I said, this is trouble. We are in big time trouble here, because at that point I don't think our offense had like touched the ball in what felt like an hour of real time. But before that, I mean, I loved how our D was playing. They were really getting after it. I mean, that's when I sent that text out. I mean, they were in Pavia's face. They were hitting him. They were talking shit. They were playing physical. They were playing hard. I mean, I about pooped my pants at Jordan Pilati. I see him come in the game, and he is right in front of me. He's 10, 15 yards in front of me. I'm like, okay, I'm ready to watch this. So the ball snapped, and I watched Jordan. Jordan, right before the ball snaps, they make a motion. I don't think there's any back in the backfield. He makes a hand signal. Right when the ball snaps, he turns. He gets a chip on the tight end. He immediately gets his eyes back around, finds and sniffs out the screen. And if they had made a good throw, he could have picked it and walked in, but it wasn't a good throw. Other people, and I was like, yo, this guy's instincts and eyes are second to none. But the thing is, he's got the athleticism and the physical attributes. He has the physical attributes that when he does see it and his eyes are so good that's where he's going to be an absolute nightmare of a problem for offenses. So I'm just watching all this, and it was funny because we did get the one on a third down where Pavia's rolling out. We drill him, and I'm like, oh shit, like, was that late? Are they going to do that? Because it was right in front of the ref. Pavia stands up, starts bitching like, hey, they got a little bit of my horse car. They don't throw it. I'm like, okay, like that's good. I said, but that might come back to get us, which it comes back to get us in less than in the same quarter when Jalen McMurray hits him. And that's why I tweeted out. When I tweeted out, like, be smart though too, because we had one where we stopped him on that big third down. David Hobbs was literally like strutting and walking slow, like in between their players on the sideline, because it was like coming this way, and he gets up and he takes his big slow ass time walking through the Vandy players. It's like, yo, like that's dogs. Like I love that stuff, but you got to back it up. And then Joshua Joseph was playing like a man possessed and getting fired up and juiced. But it's like it's like I don't know if they got worn down or they couldn't maintain it or what, but they were playing at such a level. But the last thing I'll say about it and hear your thoughts on it were I respect Clark Lee and Pavia and that staff and that team because we all knew they were going to fight for 60 minutes. They do not give up. They do not waver. I'll be honest, Pavia is a little fella. He's a small guy, but he competes. He doesn't ever seem to get frazzled. He just is like next play up, next man down. He doesn't really talk a bunch of junk like in the game. I mean, he's in the quarterback. You're always thinking about the next thing. You know, he picks and chooses moments. I only saw him whine that one time trying to get a thing, but he he is a ball player. Like, and so I do respect that about him. It's his parents and family and all that nonsense is probably more annoying than he is.
No,
and
he's annoying outside of the.
And that's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
And that's what I was about to say is like, but then again, he backed it up. Like he talked his talk in the offseason, at least against us. They're not going to win a national championship. I don't know if he deserves a Heisman or not because I'm not breaking down all the Heisman stuff, so I'm not getting into that. But like he talked shit about Tennessee and he came in and won, so like I have to give him credit for that. You know, he backed it up. It's just crazy though that they even won that game with him giving us two gifts. And so I just felt like this is the last thing I'll say about it. I feel like I was watching Georgia's JV team yesterday of how they play, how they're constructed. They're going to run the ball. They're going to slow it down, air out of the ball, left, right, shot, run. It's like it was so balanced. Like I felt like Tennessee was never able to really dictate defensively. And then I'll be honest, I felt like at a certain point in that game, I feel like they defensively started dictating to us. I feel like anytime that we tried to do like a little play action dump, like they ate that shit up. But when they did it to us, it was like an easy 7 or 8 yards.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just felt like I was like how Clark Lee's constructed it is kind of that Georgia elk. Like we're going to be more physical and we're going to play more aggressive. So
yeah. I mean, I like the feast that the defense had in the first half in the 2 interceptions, but that doesn't mean that the defense wasn't getting beat. I mean, on the first pick, they had driven almost 70 yards to that point. They were going to score, you know what I mean? And then it was like, okay, now we got an interception. Great. And there wasn't a time that our defense really like slowed them down at all. You know, people want to say that maybe Heupel pulls off the gas or doesn't finish like he should, or what that might be. But like that drive before the half you're talking about, like 5 minutes left, right before the half, let's run some clock off. Let's go score ourselves. Mike Matthews got a offensive pass interference blocking a guy downfield thinking it was going to be a different play than it was. And now we're in 2nd and 23. And that's really hard to come out of. And when we had to punt, I didn't feel great about our defense stopping them before the half. I don't think anybody else felt great about it either. And that's because of what the defense has done all year and how they've performed and what they've been able to do. And they haven't been able to stop anybody. So it's, you know, it's feast or famine on defense and it's feast or famine on offense. It's like if you fuck up, if you aren't locked in, if you don't catch a fucking slant on the fucking 1 yard line to go into the end zone, then yeah, you're going to lose games. That's what's going to happen. All the games this year were predicated on this offense. That was it. It was the only way we were winning games was this offense. So if they don't perform, if they don't execute, then we will lose the game. And that's what happened. We had a chance to execute in the second half, and we didn't. We had to kick a field goal, made it a 7-point game. They made it a 14-point game. So, and then that changes your dynamic as an offensive play caller, as an offensive player, changes your dynamic as a defensive play caller, as a defensive player, knowing that you have 2 touchdowns in your back pocket. That's what does it. And Heupel even kind of said it in his post game. He's like, you know, you hate the fact that one play kind of determined the rest of that game, but it did. And we got to grow from that. Yeah, you do. You do have to grow from that. But you just, there's nothing that's changing that. I mean, in the third quarter, we had 4 plays. You know what I mean? Like, that's partly on, offense, you should execute and get a first down. But, like, you're telling me one incompletion causes a 15-minute drought and a 10-point swing, one incompletion? Like, damn, my team is just not fucking balanced enough then. Because, like, letting Vandy go on a 6.5-minute drive for a touchdown, we go for 55 seconds, and then they do another 5-minute and 11-second for a touchdown. It's like, dude, like we're getting that's there's if we can't stop them on defense and they're running the clock out, and it's a tie ball game at the half, then we have to score every time. If there's one incompletion, it's not good enough.
Yeah,
that's kind of the spot we were at.
Yeah, it's styles make fights, styles make games. I've seen Heupel win fourth quarter games. I've seen this team fight. I've seen this team be physical, and I'm talking about in his 5 years here. But there is something to say that if our biggest thing as a boxer is the knockout, and that's not necessarily even knocking and scoring so many points that the team can't come back like Florida last week. It's maybe some of the stuff where second year South Carolina and first year Missouri, where you just keep scoring and you keep scoring and you keep scoring. It takes them out of their offense. and they're just trying to play catch up, and then that's where you want to live and play. And Will West on Sports Animal's been saying it a ton of like if Josh Heupel in Tennessee would just accept the fact that this defense isn't any good and would just be like, we're just going to go outscore everybody and we're just going to do tempo every time, which, I mean, you and I were sitting there, what
kind of fucking statement is that? I know the defense is bad. I'm trying to score every time. What the fuck do you think I'm out there for?
His point was that they should just run speed tempo every time instead of slowing it down some.
I mean, that doesn't it's a tactic, okay? It's not, hey, here's the secret weapon for having a good offense.
I don't know
what I mean? Like, okay, yeah, you should run up tempo every time. Yeah, well, great. How about I run up tempo and get 30 seconds off the clock at 3 plays and we punt? And I make it even worse for my defense. It's just like, go ahead.
No. And I agree with you because that's what happened yesterday. And that's why we were like a third and whatever. And I told Megan, I was like, if they don't get this is bad because we're punting it right back to them. And I get what you're saying. And I'm not saying I agree or disagree with Will West, but he's just been harping on that for a while instead of being like, hey, instead of save them, if you have a chance to get that first down, he didn't explain it like this. I'm explaining it like this, but like if you get that first down, like, let's just go, get on the ball. That speed is your best chance. For example, like they ran tempo that first drive against Georgia and they marched it right down the field and they scored like it was no problem. Mm-hmm. So I think that's very difficult to maintain that. And you're right. If it's clicking, it looks great. But then the first incompletion or first penalty and you're at 2nd and 18, well, then that kills it. And now your defense is back out there. So I get both sides of the coin. But thinking about it yesterday, I don't know where there would have been an opportunity to run tempo that would have changed anything. Because say if you said, hey, we're going to run tempo and go fast on that first or that drive where it was 21-14 5 minutes ago, well, it's like they wouldn't have gone anywhere because there was execution issues. And the mic, so.
I mean, can up tempo cause refs not to pay attention as much? Maybe if we get that. Yeah. But I mean, it's not giving us an advantage over their defense. It also doesn't help that Vanderbilt in the second half in a tie ball game went touchdown, field goal, touchdown in their first 4 drives of the second half. And after that, there's 4 minutes left in the game.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you want? Yeah. Okay. So our offense has to do the exact same thing. Has to.
Yeah.
Versus a better defense.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I hear you. I think the only other thing for me is a couple, like I want to give credit. I don't know how much you went back and watched it because I definitely was not going back and watching this. I could not do it. I'm not doing it. Kyler and I get to choose what we talk about on this pod, so I'm not going back and rewatching it.
Oh, yeah, I don't want to go through the pain again.
But I will say, like I was hard on him. I thought Andre Turrentine had some good plays for Senior Day yesterday, which was nice to see. I thought he had a nice PBU. I thought he had 1 or 2 pretty good tackles. He had 1 tackle that probably saved a touchdown that was an open field. So it was like, hey, I can see that you wrap up and tackle when you want to. So why are we not doing that every time? But I want to shout him out for some good plays. I thought T-Lander had a couple good plays that I saw in person. I can't go back and say that he had whether he had good or bad game. Like I said, I love Jordan Pilati. I cannot wait to see him. It's funny because I was talking to my dad and Jack after the game, and I just said the only thing that frustrates me really about this, like bad, was you let Pavia beat you, and that's the one person you can't let him beat you. Like, I don't care if we had to go 8 in the box and just say, Ty Redmond, I'm sorry, but you're manned up. Colton Hood, I'm sorry, but you're manned up. If you get beat, you get beat. But we're going to have 8 dudes in this box to stop the run, to stop the quarterback run, and like even if we're bringing only 4, when like I'm having a spy, and that spy it should have been Jordan Pilati because he's the longest and quickest. If it's not him, then Arian and Edwin can do it. But it was funny because I was telling them, I said, I don't know why Jordan got pulled, like was out of the game or why they didn't have his spy on it. And then I saw, I think it was, I think it's Brian Staley is his name, but it's Braylon's dad. And he's like, dude, Jordan Pilates too good to come out of the game. And I was, after I watched what I saw in person, I was like, dude, you can't like, I know they like rotating, but you got to need to maybe give him a little bit of a break, but it needs to be him and then the other three rotate together. I know that they love older guys and they like T-Lander and they like, but physically that guy's something. But yeah, it was frustrating to me that we didn't do enough in the box to stop running back run, quarterback run. And then it really, really irked me because there were times that Pavia probably had at least three. They weren't just long runs. I mean, they were 40, 50 yards, it felt like.
Yeah.
And it wasn't him that broke it long that we had the fumble that we didn't recover, right? Was that one of their receivers that Arian Carter hit?
I believe so. I don't think it was Diego.
Yeah. So in like if you get that fumble because they ended up scoring,
I'm pretty sure that was on the fucking drive before half too.
No, that wasn't the drive. I don't think that was the drive before half. I think
I felt like there were two things that happened that drive before half. It was a roughing the passer on third down, and then it was like a fumble that happened we didn't pick up. Both on that drive, and it was just like, you got to be fucking kidding me, man.
Yeah, because I think you're right. I think if we'd gotten that fumble, then that was another chance to go up like 28-14 or 24-14 and kind of extend, those styles. Like that's how we need to play is we need to keep extending, especially with that defense. Yeah. But yeah, that's like the one thing, and I'm talking like you can be mad at the defense. I'm talking Vol Nation can be mad at the defense of missing blocks, not getting off block, or missing tackles, not getting off blocks, not filling gaps, whatever the case may be, because they weren't really taking shots deep. They had one shot that was a good shot deep. The other ones, I thought we played them well defensively. Like I said, one of them was a pick. We had some good PBUs, but it's like, dude, you cannot let him run wild. And I don't know why, if you don't say, hey, Jordan, hey, Arian, if we're in, this cover 3 or cover 4, you have your zone, but your zone's like 20% what we're worried about. I want your eyes to be like on him. And the second you see him start moving one way or the other, that's when you close in, because he's a good football player and he's a pretty good little athlete, but like it's not Lamar Jackson. It's not the most dynamic thing we've seen. I mean, we're still going to have a linebacker that can at least put pressure on him. So
he's quick, but it's not.
Yeah,
he's not the best runner in the world. I mean, he is a fantastic wildcat quarterback. That's what he is. Yeah. I think that needs to become a term, because I don't like a lot of comparisons of quarterback and a lot of people boasting about quarterbacks when really they're a lot better runners than they are quarterbacks. Like, they're better runners than they are throwers. So it's like the quarterback title is not really fitting to you. You're more of a wildcat quarterback. Like,
well, they call him mobile. They call him running quarterback.
To run. Like, we're meant to run here, and we will throw some balls, because like his 2 picks in the first half were god awful.
Yeah.
I mean, not just bad in placement, but horrible in decision making. There was a safety over top in both of them. It makes 0 sense. So like, I really don't want to put them in the same category as the good quarterbacks that have played, if that makes sense. Like, I would even like to put Johnny Manziel as the guy who started, Tim Tebow, as the guy who started it all. As like, he's not Peyton. He's not all those quarterbacks that came right before Tebow. Sam Darnold winning a Heisman, Andrew Luck right around there, Matt Leinart, what's the other fucking USC quarterback? Carson Palmer, who won a Heisman. Like, he's not like that. It is, I can throw sometimes. I can throw when you scheme it open for me. I've got certain routes that I'm good at, and then I can run the football. And that's what it is.
Yeah, they call those mobile.
That's why Tebow didn't have success in the NFL. That is why Lamar Jackson is still looked upon the way he is, even after winning 2 MVPs. They still look at him and go, yeah, but I mean, he's a regular season merchant. Like, this guy's a freak athlete. He's crazy. He's almost impossible to defend. But then when it actually comes down to a 3rd and 13, good fucking luck. Because what's he got to do now? Now he's got to sit in the pocket and read the defense? Good fucking luck, buddy. That's just not going to work. So, like, my Diego Pavias, my John Mateers, my fucking Lenore Sellers, like, my DJ Lagways right now. Enough. Yeah. I don't want those guys anymore.
Yeah, I get your soapbox moment. They do have a name for them. They're called mobile quarterbacks or dual threat quarterbacks.
Joe Burrow is a mobile quarterback. That's what a mobile quarterback is. Okay. He's a quarterback who can be mobile, who will run outside of the pocket when he needs to, who will try and get first downs if he has to.
Okay.
He's not a good freaking he's not a runner. He's not a running quarterback. Like, that's what these guys are.
So if you don't like mobile, what about dual threat?
I mean,
yeah. No, I get it.
Can I get running? Can I get running quarterback?
Yeah.
Can that be a thing?
Yeah.
My running quarterback. If someone goes, what's this guy's best attribute? Running the football. Yeah. Then we know he's a running quarterback.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's not a passing quarterback. He's a running quarterback.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. Yeah, it was a tough pill to swallow, though. I wish that we would have just packed the box, and if they beat us in the air, they beat us in the air. But there were way too many times that we still had Reese and Caleb and Andre Turrentine, what I felt like 10 yards deep, and just they bullied us, and it's tough to see. It's tough to see, but. I think that's pretty much. I shouted out who I wanted to shout out. I don't think there was anything like atrocious that I wanted to mention that I missed on or anything. I think everyone's in agreement that there's got to be changes made, and it should be an interesting offseason. And I'm not going to stress about the offseason because I don't get paid to. So we'll see who we will see who they bring in as players, and we will talk about. We'll have, I guess, a couple more pods where we break down the game with the bowl game, and then I don't know if we'll do a final season one, and then maybe a recruiting one or not. I don't know if we'll end up doing that or not, but I think officially, and I'll bring that one question up that I have on the next pod. About like not the atmosphere, but the style of coach that Heupel is, because I'll be curious to get your thoughts, and I haven't really heard anyone mention it. But I think going into next year, it's pretty crazy to say, but I think going into next year there's going to be some, like I said, some hot seats. So
I think there will be. I wonder what bowl game that we will have. I feel like the best that we could get is Outback Bowl. Being 8-4, that's, not the greatest, but, I think there will be some hot seats. I definitely don't think it's Heupel. I do think there are people out there right now that might be watching this that think Heupel should be gone. The first coach to beat Alabama in 15 years, the first coach to win in the swamp in 23 years. First coach to take us to a college football playoff. Yeah, that one we should fire after losing to the best team that Vanderbilt has ever had in their 150-year history. So, real smart individuals out there. So we'll talk about that too. But yeah, there's going to be some changes this offseason for sure. I am excited for a really good quarterback, a really good linebacker, and some good linemen. And that's all I can say.
Yeah, I don't like to get excited about recruiting, but it would be, obviously we all hope that Faison Brandon is really, really good and we can have him for, have him starter for 2, maybe 3 years. But he's not even this year, he's next year, but I would do some bad things. I would do some bad things to get that running back out of Baylor because I would love to see a workhorse like that in this offense.
Yeah.
So, anyways, see you, brother. Go Vols.
All right, buddy. See ya. Okay. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening. If you are watching, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, leave a comment. If you're just listening, rate, review, download, re-download. Follow us on all those listening platforms. Also follow us on social media. Everything's in the description below. Again, thank you guys. It was a great season. Didn't turn out the way we thought it would. But nonetheless had some good times during it. So we'll be back. Not sure when yet. Maybe in a couple weeks before the bowl game. Maybe next week after SEC championship. We'll see. But as always, go Vols.